Hello everybody, this is my 33rd review of movies to come out in 2025, and today we are talking about Elio. This is directed by Domi Shi, Madeline Sharafian, and Adrian Molina. Sorry if I pronounced any of those wrong, I saw different pronunciations from different interviewers. Domi Shi also directed Turning Red, so this is her second Pixar movie, but this is the feature debut for both Madeline Sharafian and Adrian Molina. If you guys haven't seen it, I made like a 30-minute video about Pixar. I'll put like a tag at the top. Last year, I mostly talked about Inside Out 1 and 2, but to recap the video, Pixar has created some of my favorite animated films and kids films ever. I think they were making excellent films up until around 2009. That was the release of Up, and in my opinion, that is the last Pixar movie that I'd call anything above decent. There are a few that I think are fine, but some have really been awful. Like, I thought Elemental sucked. And it's a shame, because this studio used to be making excellent kids movies, one after another. So anyways, would I recommend Elio? No! I hated this movie! I hate that the conversation around this movie is people being like, well, if you want more original movies, you should go to the theaters and support this one. This is doing really bad at the box office right now, and some people are like, guess nobody wants original movies anymore. Well, I saw this in theaters, and I have to say, this is one of the most unoriginal movies I've ever seen. The majority of sequels and remakes are far more original than this movie. I mean this completely unironically. I think the new Snow White remake is a more original movie than Elio. It's a far worse movie than Elio, but at least it has original songs. At least it has sort of a twist on the Snow White story. While Elio may be a new intellectual property, that doesn't make it an original movie. It's literally just movies you've seen before stitched together. It's just Lilo and Stitch, Shark Tale, and The Little Mermaid, and some other Pixar movies combined, and then reenacted with the Grubhub ad character designs. Okay, maybe they're not that bad, but I do not like the way these character designs look. They just look so boring and generic. And as a whole, I really cannot recommend this movie to anybody, because this is way too scary for kids. There's like horror music stings and like genuinely like body horror moments in this movie. But I would think that anybody above a very young age would find this very annoying and derivative, but I guess people seem to be enjoying this, so what do I know? The characters are so generic. Apparently Elio, the character in the movie, was supposed to be gay or queer-coded, but Pixar got cold feet and cut out all that stuff. There's an article that came out that I talked about in my other Pixar video, but I want to remind everybody of this part that Pete Docter said, the studio's movies should be less a pursuit of any director's catharsis and instead speak to a commonality in experience. And this is the result. It's completely bland, generic characters with basically no history. Directors don't get to represent their culture on screen anymore. They don't get to express any marginalization they've experienced. Adrian Molina is one of the directors and he's openly gay. And clearly he wanted to express his own experiences with this movie, but they removed it. People are saying you should support this movie because it's original, which it's not. I'm gonna tell you not to support this movie because it's blatantly homophobic. And in terms of character writing, I dare anybody watching this video to tell me the name of a single character in this movie other than Elio. And let's be honest, if his name wasn't the title of the movie, you probably wouldn't remember his name either. Because the characters in this movie are shells. They are devoid of any humanity. The story, because it's so uncreative and derivative of other movies, is so predictable. Like, you know at the start of the movie that the movie's gonna end with him, you know, having a fun adventure with these aliens, but then coming home and being like, you know, I'd rather spend my life on Earth with my aunt. I don't feel like I'm spoiling the movie for anybody, because this movie's so predictable that it spoils itself. They do that whole thing where you think a character is gonna die, but in the end they actually don't die and it's a happy ending. And they do that same widely spaced out piano chords with strings underneath. Like, really, can you tell me the difference between this song from Inside Out 2 and this song from Elio? I doubt it, and they're played at the same time in the plot. And Pixar keeps doing this. In Elemental, you think the water guy is gonna die, and then he doesn't. In Soul, you think the teacher is gonna die, and then he doesn't. And this movie, we're supposed to think this, like, alien kid is gonna die. And, like, Who are the knuckle-dragging 50 IQ dolts in the audience who actually think this alien kid is gonna die? Who are these people? How are movies made like this anymore? I mean, recycling the same plots over and over and expecting us to, like, think something different is gonna happen? It's the definition of insanity! I can't be engaged in a story if I know what's gonna happen at every single point of the story. There's one point in this movie where one character says to another character, "Little green men, don't tell me you believe in that stuff." And then they both see an alien, because this is a movie with aliens in it. Shocker. Like, that's crazy bad joke writing. I literally said out loud to my empty theater, like, are you kidding me? And the majority of the comedy in this movie is like that. Let me try and be positive and think of some things I did like about this movie. I like some of the score. It was kind of cool sounding at times. Most of it's pretty generic, but you know, it's nicely produced, it's nicely orchestrated, it's a big budget movie, they got that stuff down. A lot of the movie looks pretty bland to me. I don't like the character designs, but there definitely are standout moments in terms of animation. There's like 1 or 2 visual gags that made me chuckle. There are things that had the potential to be good, like the villain in this movie, could be kind of funny. He's like not a very imposing villain, he's more of like a dad. And if they developed that properly, it could have been funny. Like, Elio makes a clone of himself in this movie, and he's kind of weird. And again, if they developed it properly, I think that had potential to be pretty funny. But they don't. The whole movie is just paced out so weird, because clearly they had to remove a bunch of stuff. And that's about all I can say I liked about this. I mean, yeah, the biggest things were just things that I thought had potential to be good. So let's get back into the stuff I didn't like. I thought it was really lazy to just slap a talking head song at the start of the movie. It's a montage that's supposed to show a passage of time in Elio's life, and I'm just thinking about like the montage in Up that starts that movie off. You know, that's also a montage that shows a passage of time, and they have this beautiful, memorable, like everybody knows the song that they put on there. It's an amazing composition, and in this movie it just feels so lazy to just throw on a random 80s song that everybody likes. And yeah, I love that song, it's one of my favorite songs of all time, but it doesn't fit the movie at all. All the emotional beats in this movie just feel so forced and have the most generic, awful dialogue. There's this weird low frame rate thing that they try to do. I guess it's like slow motion, and like a camera, they like lower the frame rate, but it always looks really weird and bad in animation. I don't know why they did it so much in this movie. The alien world makes no sense. They're portrayed as like comically dumb. They think Elio is like the king of Earth, but they also have this like incredible futuristic technology, obviously, and that could have actually been a joke in and of itself, but it definitely was not meant to be. And I know people like to go easy on kids' movies for this kind of stuff. It's like, it's a kids' movie. Who cares about like a plot hole or something that doesn't make sense? But in my opinion, it's more important that kids' movies are smart and thoughtful because they're developing as people, you know? They need to learn lessons from these movies. They need to learn about the world from these movies. So if the writing is kind of half-assed and doesn't make sense, I'm not gonna give it a pass. And even if I were like 6 years old, I think I would think it's strange that Elio can tell that the villain's son is a kid based on his voice with like the voice translator modulator thing, but the Galactic Council of Aliens can't tell that Elio is a kid based on his voice. And it's weird how the climax of this movie is just him and his aunt like driving a spaceship through an asteroid belt, because it just feels so low stakes. Like the conflict earlier was like Elio needs to save the entire galaxy from this like alien force, and his aunt is so unconcerned in like piloting a spaceship through an asteroid belt. Like, it actually feels like they're gonna die, and she's just so calm about it. And it's just weirdly paced. It's like a 7-minute scene, and the way they get out of it is by talking to people on Earth through like a radio, and the people from Earth are like, dodge this, go left here, and like that doesn't make any sense. They're right in front of the objects. How could they detect it faster than Elio and his aunt could see it? What? Like, I understand that his aunt and these people are supposed to, like, detect objects in space, but these are, like, small objects, so that doesn't make any sense. I won't take credit for this observation. I heard it from Man Carrying Thing on the Sardonicast, but Pixar movies have had this shift where they used to be from the perspective of parents, and now they're from the perspective of kids. Like in Toy Story, the toys talk about Andy like they're parents. They care for him like a guardian. Sully and Mike are basically literally guardians to Boo in Monsters, Inc. And Inside Out, they're looking after Riley's emotions like their parents or guardians. But with Elio or Luca or The Good Dinosaur, or even as far back as Brave, there's been a perspective shift to the point of view of kids. And I think inadvertently this shift has caused these movies to go from feeling like parents feeling like they have to express something to children, like, let's make this fun, imaginative story to help kids be less afraid of monsters in their closet or in the dark, or let's take kids' imagination with toys and, tell this wonderful story about, like, people who unconditionally love you if you treat them well. But now it feels like boardrooms of people scratching their heads trying to think what kids will like. Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure kids like archery and riding horses. Yeah, we'll make a movie about that. Little boys like dinosaurs in outer space. Let's make a couple movies about that, why don't we? Stories? We'll just copy and paste that from other movies. Who cares? They're dumb. Music? We'll just take it from other movies we've made. We don't need to compose memorable themes like The Incredibles or Up. Characters? Let's just make them as generic as possible so it can appeal to a wider demographic. Animation? Let's just make a couple of highly detailed shots so people can think we're still innovating animation, and maybe we can scoop up a couple Oscars, but the rest of it can just be that same cartoony style we've been doing with the bean-shaped mouths. So if anybody ever tells you that you need to support this movie because it's original, you tell them that Michael Mann 2000 told you this movie is not original and was edited down to coddle homophobes. Honestly, at this point, Pixar pisses me off more than any other film studio. Like, as much as I hate Illumination animation, at least their movies feel kind of self-aware. Like, I can't watch a movie like Minions and think it's gonna be anything other than stupid. Whereas a movie like Elio is masquerading as heartfelt when in reality, it is completely devoid of humanity. I want to end this review by saying I know there's lots of talented people working at Pixar, people who care about kids and their entertainment and animation, and people who want to tell real stories without caring who they offend or how much money they'll make, and it's clear that whoever is making these big decisions is just trying to keep this company afloat, keep people employed, keep people, paying for everything they need and their families and whatever. They're trying to do a good thing, but the result is it's causing this company to be a cynical husk of its former self, and it's sad. I was gonna give this movie 1.5 stars out of 5, but honestly, I hate this movie so much that I think I'm gonna lower it to a 1 out of 5. On Monday, I will make a review for Superman, directed by James Gunn, so subscribe to stay tuned for that. In the description, I will put a link to my Letterboxd list ranking all the movies I've seen of 2025 so far. Here is the list so far. There we go. There is Elio and the rest. There should also be a link to the YouTube playlist of all of my 2025 film reviews in the description. You can also find that on my channel page and on the left side of your screen, as well as a link to the Pixar video. Thank you for watching. Comments and likes are very much appreciated. They help give me a boost in the algorithm. That's all I gotta say. See ya.